Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA, and more specifically, everything going on with your Denver Nuggets. I'm your host, Loki, here with Phil. Phil, what's up?
What's up? We have a lot of games to go through.
We got a lot of games to go through. It's been a while, but it was overall good.
This is all right.
There was some bad things, but there was a lot of good stuff. But we'll get into it. But first off, it's officially trade season. A lot of trade rumors. John Collins is available. Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, literally anyone Orlando is available.
Yeah,
Oladipo, maybe Lowry, maybe
Norman
Powell. There's a lot of players all over. Maybe Montrezl Harrell now. There's rumors everywhere. Lonzo.
Every year, just for nothing to happen.
I mean, yeah, most likely nothing will happen. It'll just be a lot of dumping salaries and trading picks. But like every year, and like I promised, I've come with ideas for the Nuggets on what they can do. It has been rumored that we're interested in two people right now, which are Lonzo Ball and Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked into those trade possibilities. Aaron Gordon's probably the easiest to make happen of the two, but also the hardest because he's a better player.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on what they want. The easiest way to make it work is obviously including Will Barnes' contract. Will Barnes' contract is the most trade-friendly contract other than Gary's. But at this point, Gary has no trade value because he's hurt. No team's going to trade for Gary Harris.
Yeah.
So it's just Will Barnes. Will Barnes is going to be in a lot of these trade ideas because there's no one else in our team that has as much money that's tradable. Mm-hmm. So it was Will Barnes and Bol for Aaron Gordon. The only reason this happened is because we realized Bol is available because he's available apparently in the Lonzo talks.
Mm-hmm. He'd be worth it. I think we'd have to throw in a first-round pick as well.
That's possible. You have to throw on a first, maybe a second. So what do you think of that? Would you like to get rid of Bol and Will for Aaron Gordon?
I would do that. I would even be willing to give them a first-round pick. Preferably not in this year's draft, but I would be willing to give them a first-round pick. I would do that trade. Yeah,
I mean, at this point, I'm not super huge fan of Aaron Gordon, but our power forwards are definitely in the weakest position since JaMychal has digressed since the beginning of the season, and
just
Paul's too old at this point. Paul's going to go.
I think Paul's going to fall out of the rotation. I wonder if we'll buy him out. Probably not.
No, he's just gone after this year. He's only on a 1-year deal. He's gone. So after this year, he'll be gone. He's just there for veteran leadership and just to be a body because Jeremy put us in the position he put us in, so we kind of just need him. But yeah, I mean, for that reason, Aaron Gordon would be worth it. I'm okay with trading Bol there because even if Bol has the chance of getting good, which I still think he can do, I still have very high thoughts on Bol. I think people have expected too much for him. He's only in his second year.
Yeah.
But if he's already available in Lonzo Chalks, that means he's available, and it would make more sense to trade him to Orlando than to New Orleans, who's an up-and-coming young team. I'd rather not trade him there. I'd rather trade him in Orlando. I'll also give them Will, get Will's contract off. We get a good power forward who's basically like Blake Griffin-esque trajectory so far. He was a dunker, and now he can shoot threes and so on. So I think it'd be a good trade. Will they do it? Probably not. Mm-hmm. I don't think we would do it. Definitely.
Well, I think I read something saying that someone thinks it's all about price. Like the Nuggets will do it as long as the price is right, But what's that right price?
The thing is now, granted, the reason I put in Bol is because you need to put in a rookie contract to make it work. Mm-hmm. Are they asking for Bol? They might be asking for Zeke. They might be asking for RJ. If they ask for either of those two, would you do it?
I was about to ask that.
Because it has to be for obviously they could ask for MPJ, but I think everyone at this point knows that we're not trading him.
Trading who?
MPJ.
Yeah, there's no way.
But so it has to be either Zeke.
Or RJ.
If it's not Bol.
So I'm going to say that's tough because so Zeke is more NBA ready, but RJ has way more potential. Mm-hmm. Neither of them are it's possible that neither of them will become much.
Yeah.
As far as timeline goes, I think I would actually rather trade RJ because everybody loves to say that RJ is going to be like their future replacement at shooting guard after Gary. I don't buy that.
A lot of people think that.
I would only buy him. Like, I wouldn't buy that. I don't buy that anymore. I kind of thought maybe at first, but no. But and especially if we trade for Aaron Gordon, there's still a chance he'll walk in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So then we could slot Zeke, and hopefully by then maybe he'll develop, and maybe he'll be our backup power forward next year, assuming we get Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
So I think I would rather do RJ than Zeke. If I don't have to include a first round pick, I would include Zeke, but.
That's a fair point. Yeah, Zeke would be a good. I think I agree with you. I'd rather trade RJ if they were asking for the 2 and they weren't asking for Bobo. Mainly because if we got Aaron Gordon and we still had Zeke, that's our power forwards next year. It's all set. Like we have Aaron Gordon starting, Zeke coming off the bench. Because I think no matter what, even if we don't get Aaron Gordon, Zeke has shown that he will be able to be the backup power forward next year behind Jermichael, and hopefully move into starter if he gets good enough. We'll see. That's a later thing. But so I think that's more worth it to trade RJ because then you have your power forward set for the future. And RJ is in this kind of position where we're overfilled. We have Facu, we have Monte,
as well.
We have Jamal, we have Gary.
We need to consolidate some of these. And if we could get Will and RJ out, it opens up. It doesn't open up more minutes, but like it gives you a more good idea of what your rotation is, and because we're too deep in a bad way this season, in my opinion.
And granted, don't think this trade's going to happen. I feel like
probably not.
The Celtics definitely have a better offer, especially if they're willing to give up Marcus Smart, which is apparently rumored. Will anyone trade for Aaron Gordon? I would assume so because he requested it.
Yeah.
He came out today and asked to leave.
It seems like he's going to get traded. It does seem like it will be like. I'm guessing it really is going to come down to like us or the Celtics.
He wants to go to a championship, not championship team. He wants to go to a playoff contending team.
Yeah. I saw something that said big market, but I don't know if that's true.
I mean, that's again always the scare of trading for players. If you trade for them, will they leave? Granted, he's on for this year and next year, but after next year, he's a free agent. So that is always a scary thing, especially when you're giving up good young assets. But at this point, it seems like the organization's willing to let go of Bobo because they don't have the patience to stick with Bobo. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
He doesn't really fit their timeline anymore either.
Yeah, he doesn't fit the timeline, it seems like. But then there was the other team that was interested. It's for Lonzo Ball. It's so hard to make this work contract-wise. The only way that works is like a straight-up Will for Lonzo trade, and probably we give him like a pick or something.
I mean, so Will and a first-round pick for Lonzo. Do you think that could get it done? Probably too much.
I just wouldn't do that because he's on a 1-year deal. He's a free agent.
Yeah, he wants like $20 million.
Yeah, he's a free agent. So that's why Lonzo just doesn't make sense. I mean, fit-wise, he does. Makes perfect sense.
Fit-wise, it does.
He'd be basically the point guard, but he'd be starting as shooting guard, but he'd be starting next to Jamal, but he just replaces what Gary does. It would be nice if Gary could trade for him, but Gary's too much money and they don't have enough players that we want to make it work salary wise. Now, granted, we do have a trade exception from Jeremy's, from when Jeremy left us. We got a trade exception, so we could use that to make it work. But knowing the Denver Nuggets and their history of the organization, I don't think we've ever used any of our trade exceptions. So I don't see us using it now. But that would be the only way to make it work with Gary Harris, or, trying to fluctuate money and cap, and maybe not even including Gary Harris, just including like young players and the exception. But it's too hard. I don't see Lonzo happening.
Yeah, Lonzo would be something that maybe, we won't have if he wants as much money as he wants, then we're not getting Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
He wants Jeremy Grant money, so.
I just don't see that happening at all. It just seems like a hard task to get him there, and even if you got him, it'd be for a rental, and I feel like there's better players you could get for a rental, so. Obviously, there are other trades rumors that have happened in the past. Terrence Ross, Danny Green, Sixers want Will Barton. That's been rumored. And then Orlando, like we said, is just trading everyone. To make those work, if you want to get Terrence Ross or you want to get Danny Green, you just trade Will Barton straight up. I think the Sixers would just do a straight up trade of Danny Green and
Will Barton. I would do that.
I would also do that just because then Danny Green's contract comes off the books this year. He's at least a good defender, even though he's not shooting the way he ever used to be.
It would be like having another Gary Harris on the team.
Yeah, but at least his contract comes off. We save money that way. So that's a good one. Terrence is a little bit different. We talked about it before. If you trade for Terrence Ross, you have basically another version of Will Barton, but for an extra year of a contract, which I don't know if I really want. So those are possible trades that could happen. At this point, I don't see those happening just because Will's playing so well. At this point, since Will's had a good stretch since we've come back from the All-Star break, I just feel like even though his value is as high as it probably ever will be, I just feel like our organization feels like we're set. We don't need to make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. And then the last one, and this is just like a fantasy one because it's not going to happen, but if it did, since Bobo became available in trade talks, I looked back into the Victor Oladipo thing. He's available. He's the only one that works with Gary's contract, and then if you put Bol, it works perfectly. So Gary, Bol, and probably a first-round pick or a second-round pick or something for Oladipo. Would you do that one?
No.
I don't know, man. At that point, I think I would, because if we're gonna get rid of Bol, we need to get rid of Gary's contract. Even though I love Gary Harris, I'm a strong Gary Harris supporter.
That opens up a hole at shooting guard.
True.
I guess at that point, who would you start? PJ? Oh, this year you started with Oladipo, but he's not re-signing.
And then when he leaves, you probably start with.
It would be like, because then you're
doing the Monte thing.
Maybe you do Monte, Jamal.
We've already seen that Monte and Jamal work as a 2, and then the 3 would just be.
I don't understand.
Will still.
Oladipo doesn't play that much 3, does he?
No, but he could.
I guess he could, but that's where you would want him to be, and is that where he belongs? Because also we talk about Jamal needs to be a 2, and PJ needs to be a 4, at least for now, until he gets better on defense.
He could definitely play 3. I don't think it's an issue because he's so good defensively, especially now that he seems like he's always healthy. So it's fine. And at this point, I think it's a good enough risk to take if it's possible, because again, even if he leaves, we lose Gary's contract, which is great. Free up cap space. It's always nice to do that. And who knows, maybe with, that's what we're going to talk about, all the injuries that have come up in the NBA. Maybe the playoffs isn't as set as we thought. Mm-hmm. And we go and have another deep run, maybe make the Western Conference Finals. Maybe he's like, oh, I really like it. He stays.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad risk to take. I still think if we trade for him, he would leave because it's Nugg life. But
it is Nugg life. But you never know. We will never say never, but we're no longer. But I think I don't know if I can speak for us both, but I'm no longer going to have confidence or hope that someone will re-sign with us.
Well, I never had confidence or hope that someone re-sign.
I thought Jeremy was gonna.
I always had it in the back of my mind. I was like, he's probably going to leave. But then I saw the team started dwindling away. I was like, there's no way he'd go to Detroit over us. But you see, man, people just like money and certain accolades. So it's tough always for Denver fans.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think the only 2 players that we could trade are Gary and Will. And this one is a pipe dream at this point because Gary's hurt.
Yeah, those are the only big contracts we can trade. We can't even trade Paul Millsap. So
no, Paul Millsap, I don't think anyone would want him with how bad he's playing. If he was playing well,
we could. But
we could because he's an expiring contract. He's a veteran.
He has a no trade clause.
Oh, does he have a no trade clause? Well, that was a stupid decision by Conley. But I get why. We were in a desperate situation in the summer. So, but yeah, I think both of our thoughts are we're gonna stand pat.
I bet we don't make a trade, but we'll see.
If anything, we try to get a pick in this year's draft. I bet, we try to swindle a second or a first.
Do we have a pick?
Yeah, we have a pick. We have our pick this year, but I wouldn't be shocked if we tried to.
I would like to do
it.
something. I would like to bring in someone who can contribute, but it doesn't have to be Aaron Gordon.
There always could be a chance for JaVale McGee or some of those lower name guys, but contract wise, it's just so hard to make things work because we don't have really that many friendly contracts right now, especially because Monte's. Even though I would never trade Monte, especially right now. Monte's becomes the next friendly contract because he signed for such a convenient deal. We don't have guys in this 15 to 10 million range.
No.
Except for Will Barton.
Yeah.
Gary's on the high end of it where he's at 19 and it still makes stuff hard to make it work. So
just because Gary, the only contract you can make work are for good players.
Yeah, for really high end players, and it just doesn't work. So it's really unfortunate that our cap situations like this. Obviously, and then also it's unfortunate because I know that anytime anyone calls Conley, they're just asking for MPJ, even though we've been over that with I think every team in this league probably 3 times that we're not trading him, but it is what it is.
I hope now they'll listen to our offers. It's just because I get it for Harden, I get it, but there's no way the Magic are we won't trade with you unless you give us MPJ.
No, but that Magic, they're who knows what they're doing? That's a weird organization.
Or like the Rockets, they're not going to be like, yeah, we'll give you Oladipo for MPJ. Like, come on.
They would say that, yeah.
Why would they say that?
Because they're crazy.
Oladipo is not that good.
Yeah, but that's what they would say. They'd be like, oh, he's an all-star. He's a defensive player. All NBA defense player and stuff like that. You know that they're always going to be haggling and stuff. That's what the team's got to do. Good teams always got to try to shoot for the stars,
I guess,
and then land with nothing.
I guess nothing.
But yeah, we're just going to stand pat. But we don't like anyone to get hurt. That's never been a thing on this podcast. We're upset that there's been so many injuries, but there has been a lot of injuries. LeBron has rolled his ankle. LaMelo hurt his wrist. I mean, it doesn't really affect us, but it affects Rookie of the Year competition. Anthony Edwards is probably going to win that award now, which sucks that Minnesota actually got a good one in him, but they did. Let's see, who else got hurt? Giannis got hurt. Steph got hurt. A lot of people. Joel's still hurt. Everyone's out.
Yeah.
So it's bad for the league, but it's really, really good for us, unfortunately, because we want Jokic to get this MVP. He's the only MVP candidate playing right now, and him and Dame Lillard. That's it. This is a really good stretch for us to possibly do well, and hopefully we do that, and hopefully we just keep moving up in the standings. Now, granted, the way the games went, it was like decently well for us, but wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
Could have been better. But we'll still talk about it. So the first game back was against Memphis. Pretty close game. Definitely pretty chippy. Got controversial at the end. Ja Morant went in the lane. Jokic went up to contest. He didn't foul him, even though I still think he did. But last 2 minute report said Jokic didn't foul him. They thought he did. The ref made it seem like he did, but then they called it on Dylan Brooks. We end up getting that game, winning it. Just winning it like we did. Who was your MVP for that one? It's got to be Jokic. But other than Jokic.
MPJ.
I'll give it to Will. Will played really well. He's 5 of 10 for 3.
I know.
You have to give an apology. Actually, no. Keep hating on Will, because every time you hate on Will, he does good. So keep hating him.
Even when he plays well, I still don't like his fit on this team, so I will keep hating on Will.
Okay, good. But yeah, I'll give it to Will, because Will played really well back in his college town. So it's a game that maybe we shouldn't have won, and I feel bad for Memphis fans, because I still think Jokic brought his arm down and fouled Ja Morant. But hey, we won it. I'll take a win any day of the week. And granted, Jamal played very terribly. Shot, 1 for 14 in that game?
Yeah. Really bad game.
And we'll talk about this. But hopefully it's changing. Next game we played against Dallas. We got blown out. Very strange, because I think even Dallas fans know our games are usually very close with each other, but no one on our team showed up. What do you think of the blowout and the fact that nobody came to play, and the fact that MPJ complained about people not playing defense, which I thought was funny?
I like MPJ. I like what he's saying. I like how he's playing. This was just bad. It was just bad. I mean, Jamal played poorly. The bench was awful. Obviously, Jokic showed up because Millsap's washed. It is what it is.
Yeah. Will played well again, had 5 of 10. MPJ played really well, but no one else other than Nikola, Will, and MPJ showed up. It's a really bad game. And then you have Porzingis being automatic. I've never seen Porzingis. It was like he was New York Porzingis all over again.
Yeah.
He kicked their butt. It was definitely a bad game, especially come back on a road trip, come back for homestand and lose like that. A lot of guys were really upset about it. A lot of guys tried to improve from it, but definitely I don't think it was a game we should have lost. No. In that way. So that's why I'm upset about this loss, because I don't think we should have been blown out. If we lost close, I would have been like, okay, but we got blown out and we shouldn't get blown out like this. And this is an ongoing issue. We're playing bad at home. This has been probably one of the worst home records the Nuggets have ever had. Granted, it might get better now.
If we get some fans, yeah.
We're getting fans in April. Apparently 4,000 fans are going to be able to go into the stadium. First to season ticket holders they're selling, and then to general public. We'll see, hopefully, if that helps the guys get some energy in that stadium, because there's a lot of times they come out without any energy. And hopefully, maybe we can be a part of that.
I would love to go to that.
We'll see if it's expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to be set up yet. Still have no information about general public for that. But April will be happening, and at least we'll have fans for the playoffs. And hopefully as
we get more time passes.
More time passes, more vaccinations, more restrictions are eased. maybe more and more fans can keep going into the stadium and helping the guys out at home, because they're definitely having a terrible time at home this year. So we did lose that game, but thankfully, then we went on a good 2-game stretch. First against Indiana, we won 121-106. Huge blowout win. Who would be your MVP for this one? Again, not named Nikola Jokic. We can't give it to Nicole.
I'll give it to MPJ again.
I'll give it to Will again. 3 games, he shot 5 threes in each one of them.
He made 5 threes, yeah.
He's shooting lights out from 3. It's insane.
What was shooting?
Okay, in that stretch, he was shooting lights out from 3, all right?
Okay, I'm sorry. Now I have to look at the games. I gave it to MPJ looking at the other stats.
I mean, MPJ still had a good game in this. They had the same. He just didn't shoot as well from 3. They both had 20 points.
Fine. Jermichael Green.
I mean, okay, yeah, he had 16, shot 4 or 6. Fine. And that was his first good game in a while.
I have to hate on him, so Will keeps shooting
Playing well. And then PJ with his always random plus 18 on the bench.
I know, right?
PJ always has a good plus minus, which means that he's playing good defense, which is good. But yeah, this game was just a wash. We definitely, again, Jokic finally played well, and he always plays well against Miles Turner. That last game was kind of weird where he didn't. Mm-hmm. And even though he didn't, he still had like a triple-double in that game.
Yeah.
He's just insane. And they didn't have anyone really play well except for Holiday and Brogdon. As soon as we stopped Holiday from hitting threes, we won that game.
Yeah.
So it was easy. Next game, Charlotte. LaMelo came into town. This game was also a wash. We just kicked their fucking butt.
Yeah, we dominated this game.
MVP for me is MPJ because he had that 6th Steph shot.
Oh, yeah, definitely MPJ.
This was probably the best game of MPJ I've seen in his career.
Yeah, he looked so good. He looked so confident.
This showed what his potential could be because he was in his element. Like the fact that he did a look away Steph shot, that's a ballsy move. He doesn't make that. He's going to get clowned on, but he did. Yeah. And then he stared down their bench.
Yeah.
Like it showed what this kid can be, and I really liked it. It gave me a lot of hope. He also had 13 rebounds with his 28 points. Again, Will played really well, had 23. Jamal played better, had 19, shot 5-11. But this is actually, again, always the game I prefer to have against bad teams. I prefer that the other guys are playing really well, and Jokic is just having, a nice triple-double with 12 points. Yeah. Like, it's I know it doesn't help his MVP case.
But this is how you win games.
But this is how, I would like us to win games, because I don't want him to have to do everything. I feel bad every time we see Jokic just carry our team.
Yeah.
Granted, it is helping his MVP case, because people are noticing that he's carrying the team. But this is, a perfect win that you would like to see. Having PJ also come off the bench with 13 was nice. And then Facu with his amazing defense as always.
Facu is always helpful.
Yeah, because he bothered LaMelo. LaMelo only had 14. He didn't even play that well. And we just played really good defense. So it was overall a really great game, in my opinion, for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
But then we go into the next game, which we completely did not deserve, against Chicago. We won 131-127. What were your thoughts on the game? Because we didn't play well until the end, and then we stole it.
I mean, Jamal does what Jamal does. He went clutch mode in the fourth quarter, and we won. We got railed in the third quarter, I think.
Yeah, and
no, we didn't. We were railed in the first quarter.
Yeah, the first quarter we didn't do well, and then we never really came back until the fourth. And it was just basically 24 of the 35 points in the fourth quarter were Jamal and Jokic. So it was just basically them.
Jokic also popped off in the second half in that game. He scored 22 in the second half.
And then we have to also give a huge shout out to Facu, because Facu got that steal on Zach LaVine.
That really assists.
Changed the tide. He did really well. I love how Facu's been playing lately. I think he's finally found his niche. Yeah. The only issue is sometimes he doesn't score the ball, and he needs to score.
He cannot shoot. He cannot shoot threes. He can't.
He was shooting 40 earlier in the year. He went down to 37 the last I checked. I wouldn't be shocked.
It's now down to 35.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be shocked if it's now 35.
He went 0 for 4 against New Orleans.
So he's definitely been in a slump since the All-Star break, which is unfortunate because he was shooting really well. I think he needs to get back into shooting only the corner threes.
Yeah,
because he started feeling himself and started shooting those really long ones. And I'm like, hey, just shoot the corner ones. Those are your range.
That's what you need to do.
But we did steal this game. We went to overtime, started kicking their butt in the first 2 minutes. Then we blew it a little bit, but luckily we were able to hang on and still win. But I think MVP for both of us is Jamal because he did send us there.
Yeah.
Even though it was very,
and he made that clutch shot at the end of the quarter. So.
Yeah, so he made that and he sent us there. It was the best thing that could have happened. Now, granted, he did have 7 turnovers, but again, Jamal shouldn't be playing point guard.
No, yeah.
We really have been missing Monte Morris these past couple of games, who's been out with a quad injury after the Memphis game, which has been terrible because, as you said, Paul's been inserted back in the starting lineup. He's not done well in the starting lineup. And our bench has been doing poorly in most of these games still. And then, like we predicted, we lost to the Pelicans. Because we always lose to the Pelicans because I don't get why. We just can't beat them. But overall, like, it was a close game. We came out kind of sluggish. And then the refs obviously did not help. A lot of weird calls. They gave them more free throws. We're not going to say anything. I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Just you, if you're a Nuggets fan and you're listening to this, you saw what Jamal said. Just listen to that. That sums it up.
I mean, my only thing with that is, like, my thing with that kind of situation is if you see how the game's being dictated and how it's being called, I think it's on the coach to do something about it. And Malone's usually pretty good about that. Like, he will usually stand up for his players and get a tech, and then usually, like, changes how the game's called or changes the momentum, makes the players play harder. He didn't do that. And usually he's really good about that. So I would have preferred, like, I would have liked at some point if he did that, just to get the guys kind of going or change how the outcome was going. The only calls I do have a problem with are the lane violations. Primarily more the first one than the second one. The first one, it's just Jamal and Will came into the 3-point line when he was shooting. But that happens all the time. In every NBA game, you'll see that probably happen like 5 times. Like, that happens all the time. They never call that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was upset with that one. The second one is on Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic got impatient.
Because he clearly came out before he shot the free throw. They just called one. You know they're going to call another one. So that one was on Jokic. But the first one I definitely have a problem with because they never call lane violations in the NBA. And they just did for some reason. And that definitely helped them. Now, granted, we still had the lead in the fourth and blew it. But overall, what did we go on that stretch? We won 4 games. We lost 2. That's pretty good. And right now we're in the 5th seed?
5th seed because Portland lost yesterday.
Yeah, they got trampled by the Mavericks. So we're the 5th seed. We're tied with them. And we're only a game and a half back of the Clippers. Like I said, the Lakers are going to start losing a ton of games. The Clippers have been very inconsistent. Phoenix is probably going to start winning games, unfortunately, because I looked at their schedule. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, Utah's schedule is also super easy.
So we'll see how this pans out with the schedule coming up. But it's not a bad road trip that we have coming up. So we will talk about it. We are playing Orlando. Maybe we'll trade right there. We'll just trade it there.
Just let Aaron Gordon come on the bus.
Yeah, we'll just go, and Tim Connolly will go talk to their GM in person. I bet you he's going to be at that game. Tim Connolly's going to be there.
Hope so.
There's no way he's not going to be there. They're going to go there. They're going to have a conversation, and then they're not going to come to a conclusion. But
probably.
We are playing Orlando. How do you see that going? It's Orlando. They're the same Orlando as always. They're not a playoff team, and they're not a playoff team. They're like a fringe.
Yeah, I'm going to say win. We should.
I'll also say win because Nikola versus Nikola usually goes better for ours. Usually that goes better for us. They are without, they don't have Markelle Fultz. They don't really have a point guard. The teams, they got a rookie point guard in Cole Anthony, which I think that Jamal can really take advantage of because he doesn't play good defense. It's coming from a UNC fan, so I know. And then just in general, I just feel like our team is better than them. When we usually play really well against Orlando. So I would also say win for this because it's a game we must win at this point. Like, this is the point, speaking of the injuries before, not only for going up in the standings, it's for MVP for Jokic.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I don't even think we're going to really do much in the playoffs. We could definitely make the Western Conference Finals still, I think.
Yeah,
it just depends on who we play.
If the Lakers get healthy, they're going to still go to the finals.
Yes,
but
and they will get healthy.
That is an if just from the Anthony Davis side, but I guess we'll see what LeBron's capable of.
Yeah, like, they will get healthy, and they will probably make it. But, like, depending on who we play, we can make the Western Conference Finals. But I want the MVP, and this is the closest chance the Nuggets have ever been to having an MVP in the league.
Yeah.
Because if we go on a good stretch and we get a higher record than the Lakers, they can't give it to LeBron. And they want to give it to LeBron.
Yeah.
Everyone knows they don't want to give it to the fat, pudgy white kid.
Yeah.
They want to give it to LeBron.
I mean, if it keeps heading the way it's heading and he doesn't win, I'm gonna be pretty pissed.
Yeah, like if we have a better record than the Lakers and he has better stats than Joel and they still give it to one or the other and not Jokic, then the NBA is just doing it for money at that point, which they do sometimes, but still, it's just like, come on. But next game is against Toronto, which is also a winnable game. They have lost 7 in a row, possibly 8. They are playing Houston right now.
They're down 6.
They're down 6, so they're probably going to lose.
They're down 8.
They're down 8. They're probably going to lose 8 in a row. So they're down bad. They're not playing well. How do you see this game going for us in Tampa Bay?
We're going to win.
Yeah, we're totally going to win.
We kind of always win against this team, so...
Yeah, we usually always play well, and we're going to play well even more because they don't have a center. That's their biggest position of need. They don't have a center. They have no one to guard Nikola. I could see him get 50 in this game.
I won't go that far.
I could see him get 50, man. He's done it once before. I could see him get 50.
That'd be cool. I'd like to.
I feel like he's going to get a lot of points in this game. I have a feeling. And then we play the dreaded.
Win.
Then we play the dreaded New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans. How do you see that game going?
I want to say that we'll come back and play a more physical style of basketball against them and maybe get some free throws ourselves, draw some fouls, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's also not our game, and we're probably going to lose.
I'm just going to say lose. I don't think we're going to beat this team for a while. I don't know why. We just don't play well against them. The games are always either like close, but you can tell it's like in their favor, or they just steamroll us.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope this is not a steamroll. But Zion is not a good matchup for Jokic. I know it's not a good matchup the other way either.
Mm-mm.
So they just kind of cancel out. But then Brandon Ingram always kills us. JJ Redick kills us if he comes back and plays. Lonzo plays well against us. Sometimes, I just feel like they're always play really well against us. It's a bad matchup for some reason. I don't know why. So I will also go with loss on that one. And then the final game we'll talk about is against Atlanta Sunday. This one's back at home. We come back from the road trip. When we play them, we've already lost to them once. How do you see this game going? They're playing a lot better now. I think they're on an 8-game win streak.
Yeah, they are.
They got a new coach, Nate McMillan. Old frenemy.
Win.
Okay, so you think we're going to win this one?
Yes.
All right. I would hope we win. I think this one's more of for me saying we have to win.
Yeah.
We have to win this game. We shouldn't lose this game. It's at home. We should win. We have a lot of, talent. Again, MPJ this time compared to last time is playing on a kind of hot streak, even though he had a decent game last game.
He shot 50%.
But
I would like to see him take more shots.
But he's going to come in, and this time he's actually playing really well. He's confident about himself, and he's going up against Trae Young. I just want my MPJ Trae Young battle for once.
Yeah, I would like that.
Let this be it. I just want to see them go bucket for bucket against each other. I think it'd be really cool. Granted, I know that's not how we play basketball, but I would like to see that. But I'll say win 2 for that. So we both have us going 3-1.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will get us to 4. Probably would just keep us at 5. But we'll see. It depends on how bad the Lakers start losing.
Mm-hmm.
If the Clippers start being still inconsistent and things along those lines. But the trade deadline could shift everything up. It could make it so the Clippers get a point guard finally. It can make it so maybe the Lakers improve, or the Suns, or the Jazz. I don't think the Jazz are going to make any trades, to be honest.
I think the Jazz are just going to stay the same.
But we'll see how it changes the landscape of things. I'm sure we won't do anything. But yeah, otherwise I think good week. Jamal did play bad at the beginning of this week or this stretch, but at least he seems like he's back to normal now. Anything concern you about going into this?
Not really. I just want to get healthy and see what happens at the trade deadline.
Yeah, my only concern is the bench, because the bench has been playing poorly lately. But other than that, I think we should do well in the stretch. Maybe Conley pulls some magic at the Orlando game. And yeah, we'll see. But otherwise, that's it for us. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell a friend. View us on all the podcasts and platforms. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Nuggets.